love. How are you?
I'm very well. It's Sex the City time.
Oh my god.
I mean, it couldn't be any worse.
Oh my god.
It's
I'm staggered. I'm staggered at it.
I've got a I always do a
staggering.
recap at the top, and the recaps are getting more and more parodic. Am I looking crazy spray tanned? Because in real life,
No, you look lovely.
I don't. But I think on film it kind of looks worse. And maybe it's just the light reflecting.
Well, I'm quite quite ill, so I look quite
no.
I look like
Grace
I'm sort of at death's door.
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't.
I'm trying not to. I'll try not to sniffle too much.
Okay.
I think my voice is like about an octave lower than it normally is. I can't. I'm so stunned. Are we going? Are we in?
No.
Let's jump into it.
I'll do the opening
titles.
titles.
Okay.
I'll do the opening titles.
Okay.
The Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist Watchers, and just like that, the Sex and the City Reheal with me, Deborah Frances-White, and my very special guest, Grace Petrie. Season 3, Episode 9, Present Tense. Well, Grace Petrie.
How do you think they came up with the title?
It's hard to know. Inspiration, I think. Just the writer's room's out of this world. What did you think, before I do the recap?
Yeah.
Just you don't have to say what happened, but what were your thoughts?
So I have to tell you what I've been through in the last 24 hours, right? Because when I put this in the diary, I was like, so we're recording this at the end of the July, and when I put this in the diary, I was like, my Edinburgh show will be long done by then, and it is not done. So we were supposed to record it yesterday, and then I had to reschedule because I was like, I haven't watched any of this. So over the last 2 days, I've watched the whole series.
Oh, you've binged! Oh, Grace.
It is absolutely crazy how
insane,
terrible it is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like, were we all high when we ever thought Sex and the City was good? Have we just been gaslighting ourselves for like 20 years?
No.
It's out of this world. And it just gets, this season has just gotten like, I just keep thinking we've hit the nadir, and then surely we're going to bounce back. But it just keeps finding new depths to plumb. So that's my take on it. I wouldn't say, I'd say it's, I won't damn it with faint praise. I would say that I was... I was fully horrified by the standard of basically every aspect of this television series.
Well, you certainly haven't been passive aggressive. I think we can fair to say that, which is the normal British way. When I'm Just Like That started, I was doing that thing of going, look, Sex and the City's family, and we're allowed to criticize family. It's all very affectionate, blah blah blah. But the commentary around it across the board has become so parodic. You can't pretend anymore. So I've done my recap before we start getting into the weeds of this week. The weeds, just because some people don't listen
Where
to the
I fear we might stay, to be honest. Once we get into the weeds, there might be no crawling out. So please do recap.
I will, just because some people don't watch it, they just listen to the podcast to find out what's happened. So in this week's
I was one of them.
In this week's episode, Aidan negs Duncan about his pipe, which he curiously claims is a nipple he's sucking on. In a rare but unwelcome continuing storyline, Charlotte is falling over from comedy vertigo in a Mr. Bean-like slapstick off with her husband, Harry, who was also suffering from last week's plotline. Seema and Carrie's gardener, who was actually named Adam Gardens in a handy mnemonic, are still arguing about deodorant, but nobody understands why, and I challenge any human being to care. Herbert has apparently lost 20 pounds, but although we've seen him around a variety of food for 3 seasons, this is the first time he's turned into the Incredible Hulk because there are groceries appropriate for his growing children in the house. This does provide a great marketing opportunity for Lisa to do product placement not once, but twice for Ozempic. Miranda comes clean with joy about throwing her rare and expensive gin down a trash chute because she's an alcoholic. And Joy says she's now worried about feeling bad about herself and admits she drinks to feel good about herself. So this scene feels almost human. Is it from another show? Anthony cooks for Patti LuPone and offers her salt and penis shakers in an admittedly tone-deaf move for a mother-in-law, and she tries to bribe him to get out of her son's life and then throws all his crockery on the floor in a bout of hysteria. She then tells Giuseppe she won't be funding his New York lifestyle anymore, which begs the question, why did he ever need to work at Anthony's pimpy bakery?
It does beg that question.
Pimp fellas. And now to the big story. Did I say the big story? I meant the Aidan story. Aidan tells Carrie to get away from him because of the aforesaid pipe smoke, which leads to a 2-day fight in which he admits that he still doesn't trust her around men, despite the fact she's moved house, agreed to a 5-year celibate hiatus, and the fact that he fully slept with his wife 2 weeks ago, which nobody mentions in this row, and she's never mentioned to anyone. Despite recently not wanting more than blank postcards, Aidan now requires 100%. And after 27 years, 1 month and 19 days of us, her audience, following Carrie Bradshaw with a blind and unfathomable devotion, we finally get to see her tell one of these dropkick narcissists she's ever involved with that she needs 100% too. This 43-minute show, now down to a record 27 minutes, was an underfed half hour of catharsis, kicking Aidan's ass to the curb. I mean, he's frankly anti-vax ass. Alison Spittle declared him. I've repeated it every episode because I can't get over it. Alison Spittle said a few episodes ago, she just went, I think we have to admit that Aidan is an anti-vax.
She's right. He's really giving anti-vax.
He will have voted for Trump. He will have voted for Trump.
Yeah, of course.
And she
on his Virginia farm denying his child with a condition the appropriate medication he was prescribed. What's she been doing?
And also, he's got nothing to talk about. Like when they were young and hot, you could just see it was kind of the sexual attraction. He lived in New York and he had a furniture place and la 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 la. But now they've got literally nothing in common. And she's got this writer downstairs that she exchanged notes with, which we all know is very, very sexy. You've given me notes before, Grace. It was hard.
She's got this writer downstairs who is the Wish version of Rupert Everett that they apparently couldn't afford, I suppose, to star in this. No offense to that actor. I'm sure he's very talented. His name is Jonathan Cake.
Oh, Jonathan Cake. Jonathan Cake downstairs.
Doesn't he just take the cake? Yeah.
Yum, yum. I'll have a bit of that icing. I'm not really attracted to him.
I know this. Okay, there's a lot of things that I know don't translate because I've actually never been to New York, much less lived in New York. So I know that there are a lot of things that don't translate. But it's like, can we? First of all, the way this show treats British people across the board is absolutely bananas. Like, what's her name? Joy is like, I am somebody who has spent the better part of my life, like, shipping every queer woman on screen of any kind, like, shipping it so hard. Like, Miranda and this woman, I have seen siblings with more sexual chemistry than the pair of them together. I can't bear it. I really can't bear it. But I will take that over her awful friends, the British friends that came over a couple of weeks, because obviously I've just been binging this all weekend, so for me this was like 3 hours ago.
Fresh. This is a fresh wound.
It's a fresh wound. I'm writing from the wound, not the scar, as they say. Like, there's British friends that come over are like these ridiculous pantomime characters, and then what we get from Carrie's storyline is trying to sell us that a man writing a Margaret Thatcher biography is the hottest thing imaginable. What is this?
Why did they pick Margaret Thatcher? Because
why did they pick Margaret Thatcher?
Could have been anyone. Could have been Nell Gwynn or something.
Oh my God. It could have been Theresa May. It would have been hotter than Margaret Thatcher. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I just don't know. But she's writing this historical fiction. Why? And he's always done historical stuff before. I mean, her historical fiction is obviously...
Her fiction is through... Honestly, I feel like out of all the things that the original series tried to sell us on, right? No shade, but out of all of the things they tried to sell us on, the idea that Carrie Bradshaw was this voice of a generation amazing writer was like the hardest thing to buy, I think. But Christ alive... a couple of lines of her fiction, and I'm like, bring back the memoir. All is forgiven. Jesus, what?
Bring back the column. But the column had, I could see that being a column. You know, like it had a little sass. It wasn't literature, but it had a bit of sass. It had a bit of energy to it. It was a column in a tabloid. That was as good. That was good enough for that. But when you're trying to write fiction, you have to hire. They're loaded. They could hire a fiction writer to write that stuff, because the woman, like I know that they're trying to do something literary trope, but it's just like they can't be bothered to give her a name.
I mean, at some point they've got to give her a name. They have
to. Going to. That's the.
They have to. Do you not think so?
No, they're definitely not. No. That's the sort of. It's trying to make it literary by giving her a trope, like a thing. She writes about the woman. Anyway, it's just...
I think you're overestimating them, Deb. I do. I really think... I don't know if they're a game... I don't know if it's meant to be a literary trope. I don't know if they just haven't thought of a name for it. And also, like, as if... It's like... I want to get into what you said about slapstick, because I personally, like, absolutely hate slapstick comedy. But it's like all of the kind of nuance or depth or kind of subtext. Guys, Google it, subtext, right? All of this has been surgically removed from this show, so that now it's not enough to literally have Carrie engage in a scene with Aiden, cut immediately to sitting down at her laptop and narrating it in her head verbatim what's just happened. That's not enough. It's like they still don't trust the audience to get that. They still have to have, in the next episode, Miranda reading it and then going, the woman did not know what she got herself into. Are you the woman? It's like, fuck me! Oh my God! Give the audience a modicum of credit. I beg of you.
This is a warning, listeners. You should sparingly, like ADHD medication and just like that episode should be taken once a week. And I think what Grace Petrie's done is overdosed here.
I have overdosed.
It's like she's taken all her ADHD meds and all her just like that in one go.
Yeah.
And you can see there's a frenzy. I would be on the roof if I watched this all in one go. Oh, you a very amusing frenzy.
I'm in a frenzy.
You can't, if you watch it back to back, you see even more like how ridiculous
it's really poor. It honestly is really poor. And like, you know, I don't want to get on my high horse about this. I know that it's all, as you say, it's family, it's faves, it's good fun. But it is sort of astonishing. Like, we are living in a really like culturally sort of stingy time, barren, in terms of like very barren in terms of funding, in terms of the things that people can get made. And it is so astonishing to like watch this and just sort of wallow in how much it costs. Like, every set is so spectacular, and I know that it's not supposed to be relatable, but it's like they're not giving you anything to root for at all. So it's like, are you trying to get me to care? It's like, I know what you said about Seema's entire storyline that comprised 2 scenes was that the guy she's shagging, Carrie's gardener, is trying to get her to stop using deodorant. And that's it. That is the whole journey.
That's been a continuing story over 2 episodes.
It
started, like, in the old days, Sex and the City, firstly, they wouldn't have done anything that ridiculous, but they did have little cute, just comedy storylines. You know, Charlotte this week would just have, like, this little funny thing about a dog or something like that. But it would tie back into the theme. And it would certainly not run over 2 episodes. Like 2 episodes of deodorant.
2 episodes of deodorant. But even that is like, that the only other thing they've really given us to care about for Seema this whole season is like the travesty that she had to part ways with her driver and maybe start using public transit for the first time in her life. It's like, this is some pretty
public
poor
transport,
stuff.
like taxis. Like she was
taxis,
like, I don't want to be in a taxi. They're disgusting. I don't want to. Well, no. What about the plot line where she caught pore germs from having her eyelashes done in a salon below Park Avenue?
Yeah, she literally caught cooties. She caught cooties from engaging with a member of the working class. Oh my God.
She allowed a member of the proletariat to touch her. And then she had to have an eye patch because of it. Which was so insulting, because I think we talked about this time, but the best treatments of that sort are always from downtown salons. And I'm like, she is a South Asian American woman. She would have places where she went where Asian women did threading and all that sort of stuff, you don't get the best kind of stuff, like white wafty. She could still have something happen to her eye as she walks into a door on her way out because the man's so attractive or something. If you need her to have a fucking eye patch so you could do pirate puns, if you need that, I mean, if you've got nothing else.
But Deb, you're forgetting that if she hadn't gone to the salon, then this episode wouldn't have met its quota for sassy, genderqueer people that are in the background of these women, but crucially never really have any stories of their own.
No, who's that assistant she's
wild.
got now? She's got an assistant in a skirt.
She stole the assistant from her ex-boyfriend who worked in a different industry and country. What?
Oh,
how is this happening?
Is that who that is? I couldn't figure that out. So I haven't watched it back to back, so I've forgotten about. I knew I'd seen them before.
So Ravi, the film director, who I believe, I'm a little hazy on this. You might have to remind me, but I believe at the last.
You know a lot more than I do. You've just watched it all. I forget.
Well, I haven't watched the second series in a very long time. So I had a long gap. But I think was it that it was the end of the second series was like she's been looking for love forever, and she's found this Prince Charming movie director, and it was like, wasn't it supposed to be the great big love of her life? And then it's the way that, like, as I've, said to you previously in my frenzy, like, it's obvious that...
I'm enjoying the frenzy.
It's obvious that these writers don't have, like, really any respect for this audience at all. But it is quite remarkable how, like, that relationship came to an end with like nothing. And it's like you expect this whole audience that you have brought along on this journey that Seema's been looking for love all of her life and basically had sort of reached a point where, maybe she started to think it wasn't ever going to happen, and then this great love comes along, and then over the course of like one episode, which is again played for like really quite sort of lowbrow, quite slapsticky laughs, he's just gone and we never talk about him again, apart from to bring back his assistant that she's poached from another industry and another country.
Grace, I think we have to accept at this point that Seema's deodorant got longer than the love of her life's breakup.
Than the love of her life's breakup, yeah.
The deodorant got 2 episodes. The love of her life breakup got 1. That got less screen time. That's also awful.
Also, like, I'm probably about to, like, it seems like I'm going to reveal some sort of dreadful, uncouth kind of revelation about myself, but like, why are we acting like the act of like putting deodorant on in the bathroom is akin to like stripping naked and washing your genitals in public? Like, it's
not in the bathroom, it's in public, because someone did it when she was with Adam Gardens the gardener. Somebody did it at the table.
How do they come up with this stuff? I remember this.
Someone did it at the table and they were both like aghast. Like, I've seen a lot in New York. I've seen someone pee in the subway, but you don't put
exactly. But this is dialogue I need to take issue with. I've seen someone pee in the subway. That is the line he gives. I've seen someone... No, it is the line. I watched it 2 hours ago. I've seen someone pee in the subway. Are we saying that the act of a clothed woman... I'm not saying that it's like where I would put deodorant on, sitting at a table on my own in apparently quite a trendy restaurant. Like, that's not how I treat myself on a solo dinner out. But, like, I'm not... Are we really saying that is worse than the other example Adam Gardens the gardener gives, which is I've seen someone pee in the subway? I can't believe I have spent the last day of my life that I'll never get back watching this shit. I would do it for no one but you. I would do it for no one but you.
Sorry.
And the slapstick, I've got to say, like, this is the thing. So, because my wife Molly Naylor is, among other things, a scriptwriter, and we've been having this conversation recently about how, like, there is a tone in comedy that is like sitcom comedy that is getting made that seems to be this tone that I can't avoid. It's the tone in everything, like Lena Dunham's new thing on Netflix, Me Too, which is really divided opinion. I am in the very, very, very negative camp about it. I got to say, I couldn't make it through the first episode. And it is because of this, like the tone of comedy, the tone of like, it's the incorporation of like slapstick Mr. Bean-esque physical comedy, as you'd so, astutely observed. And also like there's so much. I really can't believe I'm saying this at the age of 38 in 2025 when we're at this pinnacle of technology and artistry and everything. But there is so much characters narrating their thoughts out loud when they are in rooms on their own that I just can't. I feel like I'm going mad. Like, to me, the tone is like, it feels like it would be it's aimed like too young for like Biker Grove or like young adult. Like, I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm watching like CBBC drama that is aimed at sort of 10 or 11-year-olds.
It's because of double screening.
Right.
Netflix told writers, like, people are going to be on their phones, so they have to be able to hear what's going on. So it's what my husband Tom calls the patented Netflix show and tell method.
Show and tell method,
so
yes, exactly.
I found it with Queen's Gambit. That I tried.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Exactly, takes you back to the pandemic. I tried to watch Queen's Gambit, but it kept, so you'd see like a little girl pull up in an orphanage, and then the voiceover would say, I pulled up at the orphanage. I got out.
Sorry, I think that's Carrie Bradshaw's fiction you're reading there.
The woman pulled up at the orphanage. She was only the girl then. And then the lady wasn't very nice to me at the orphanage. She was really mean to me. And then you see the lady being mean to her. And then she's like, I got taken to a bedroom. And she goes into a bedroom. And I'm like, sorry, why? It used to be that the narrator was telling you something other. It was more like a novel where sometimes you get the eternal thoughts. But I would see her going to the orphanage, and I would hear something about how she was feeling or some kind of backstory that I couldn't possibly know any other way. But they don't trust the actors now because they fear no one's looking at the actors. It's the double screen problem. And also, I recently got a screener for something, I think, so I could talk about it on The Guilty Feminist. And I happen to know the writer, and I know they're a good writer because I've seen their theatre stuff. And I saw ADR, because in a screener, sometimes they haven't put everything on because they're not ready. And so there were all these things like somebody's taking someone out the back, and then what's going to be lumped on top, we're told, is, I'll take you out the back. It's Gary's birthday. We've got a cake. It's like, I know the writer didn't write that because I could see it on the screen. And I know that when it comes out, Bob's going to say all of that. The writer's horrified. The writer's like, oh, don't fucking add that. Poor old, actor is pulled back into a booth in Soho to say, come out the back. I've got a cake. It's Andy's birthday, whatever it is. I've fucked up the lines now. But that's happening all the time. So I don't really blame Lena Dunham for anything like that, because that will be network notes. I found there was a lot of charm in the Lena Dunham show, but I understand people's polarization. No, I understand that totally. But I found there was a lot of charm in it. And I feel like a lot of the reviewers were like, well, it's no girls. It's not defining a voice of a generation. I'm like, well, she's fucking 39 now. Why does she have to define the voice of a generation? But
sure,
also,
and you know what? I didn't expect
all those reviewers
it to be girls.
hated girls. They all hated girls. They were horrible about girls. And then they're now saying it's no girls. And I'm like,
well, I didn't expect it to be girls. I have never really particularly engaged with the girls. I haven't got an opinion on it either way. I think I just like that that particular tone of like, I think that makes total sense what you just said, the show and tell, because they expect people to essentially, they don't, the reason I guess I've been engaging with this show over the last 24 hours and going, it's like they don't trust the audience or give the audience any credit, is because I guess they don't, because I guess people aren't really like watching anything anymore, like with their full brains or even both of their eyes. But I think, there's something to do, like, something to do with the level of comedy. It's like, if we need a different kind of comedy that people can absorb kind of hourly if they're not really going to be watching, then I think we just need to we need to just sort of innovate a kind of comedy that kind of works in, because what they're doing at the moment is like I hate physical comedy. I always have. And like this and just like that is like, there are whole episodes, this episode being a great example, as you say, Harry and Charlotte, they just don't know what to do with these people. No. So they literally just go, for the most spurious of reasons, what if they can't walk? That is Charlotte's entire storyline, as you said, regretfully, for 2 episodes. And she's like a core cast member. And all she's been allowed to do in this episode is like waddle into the room and fall down. I can't bear it, Deb. Kristen Davis, come on.
It's really pissed off the Vertigo community as well. They're like, this is not a joke, and it's not how it works, and you're not doing it right. And last week, everyone kept saying I didn't think that was a real thing.
It's really pissed off the Vertigo community. That is so funny, because I personally thought there were no communities left for And Just Like That to have not pissed off, but they are still. I must applaud them that 3 seasons in, they're finding new communities to offend and be cancelled by. They across the board, you know.
You know what? You saying that about British people being always portrayed bizarrely, like parodically, reminds me of Annabelle Bronstein back in the OG Sex the City. Do you remember when the Soho House opens in New York and Samantha's on the waiting list and she sort of goes in and says, "Don't you know who I am?" And they say, "Actually, we don't." And then she finds Annabelle Bronstein's Soho House card in the loo and uses it to get in, pretending to be Annabelle Bronstein. And there's a preposterous British man who's like, he's a waiter at Soho House. And waiters at Soho House are likely to be a little bit trendy, a little bit London, you know.
A little bit hipster.
Yeah, a little bit hipster. They might be posh, but they're posh hipster. They're not. And he comes over like he's a butler in Downton Abbey and says, "Excuse me, but is it possible that you have found Miss Annabelle Bronstein's card? Because you are clearly not Annabelle Bronstein." And she says, and she puts on a fake British accent and says, "Yes, I am." And he says, "No, Miss Annabelle Bronstein is from Surrey, where I'm from, and I imagine that you are not from anywhere like there." And he's got this ridiculous accent. I'm like, who has ever said I can tell you from Surrey from your accent? It's just not a thing. People don't know people are from Surrey.
And also the implication, no shade, I don't want to get cancelled by the Surrey community, but like, as if he's going to be like, "You're clearly not from Surrey." It's like, is that a badge of honour? Is that what we're saying in Surrey?
Surrey, listen, if you're listening, if you are from the Surrey Vertigo community, we can only apologise for everything that they and we have said. So they've always done a bit of that.
But if you're in the Surrey Vertigo community, I think it's just downhill from there, isn't it? Oh,
wow. Oh, my God. Grace Petrie, what a lovely career, now fully cancelled forever. Well, to be honest, you were trying to look for an out anyway. You were looking for an exit from all things.
I couldn't ask for a better way to go than to be cancelled by the Surrey Vertigo community.
Oh, well, it just means you can't play Surrey anymore, to be honest. When did you last play Surrey?
I was going to say, I mean, I think the 10 people that have come to see me in Surrey will only be relieved of the reprieve, to be frank.
Relieved to not to feel they have to turn up again next time, lest you only play for 7.
Yeah, Surrey and Kent I don't do well in, I got to say. The last time I did a gig in Kent, I was playing the Gulbenkian Theatre, which was like, it's a gorgeous, beautiful, round, raked seating, gorgeous space, but it cannot crucially be reconfigured to make it look better if you've sold a frightening proportion of the tickets that exist in the theatre, which I had. And a lady, this is quite a few years ago now, a lady on the way in bought a t-shirt, watched the show, and on the way out bought a second t-shirt and said to Alex, who sells my merchandise for me, "I do worry about her," and then left.
No.
So the people of Kent patronising this career of mine.
It's very mumsy.
I love you down there.
Her. Yeah, it's very sweet of her to buy a second t-shirt, but it doesn't make you feel like a rock star in that moment, does it?
No,
really doesn't.
No, I don't think anybody ever said of Taylor Swift, "I do worry about her." I don't think that's what they say when they buy
an extra t-shirt. I will say though, Grace, where you're big, you're throbbing. Listen, there are some Brexity counties that aren't going to be interested in what the Petrie has to say, but that's their loss and it's on them.
Listen, babe, why the hell do you think I moved to Yorkshire? I know what I'm doing. I know which side my barn cakes are buttered.
Okay, so we've covered how depressed we are about Seema's deodorant. We have covered how awful you find Miranda and Joy's relationship. We've covered that we cannot bear Charlotte having to fall over again the second week in a row.
And it seems like it seems as though they're setting us up for her to continue falling over into the finale, because it didn't get resolved today. So I guess she's just gonna be doomed to comically roll out of shot in the finale of the series.
Listen, they dropped.
God love her.
they drop things like hotcakes as well as they extend. Like there's storylines that's like Miranda's an alcoholic. No, she's not. Oh, it's back. They'll use it again when they want to. Maybe they will, but I expect it'll be gone as fast as Harry's cancer. Which is just going to be gone next week. I'm pretty sure. It will.
They caught the vertigo early.
That's what's.
They caught it as early as they caught his cancer.
That's what's happened. So I think we've covered all of that. Herbert has lost 20 pounds apparently.
Oh
We've never heard about this before.
Honest to God,
he's been at barbecues. He's been at parties. He's been on holidays, sitting in a tent. He's picked up. There was a big argument whether he or she should pick up the chocolate for the s'mores. That was a few weeks ago. He's never said, I can't have s'mores. I don't want to be on picnic with all these things. You know,
well,
I eat it all.
I guess all the things you're describing came in before they got the Ozempic product placement deal, which they clearly did in time for this episode.
And they couldn't give Ozempic to any of the women.
No, I suppose that's. I was thinking, is that where the line is?
So it's
a funny one.
Who's the fattest man? They've said, and they've said, sorry, Herbert, you're going to have to take one for the team and pretend to be on Ozempic. I mean, he'll be on Ozempic next week.
And also be absolutely unreasonable to his wife and children about all of this.
Quite frightening. Like, he shouldn't be running for office. He's got a personality disorder.
Like the way he's roaring at his child. He calls him cheese eater like it's a slur. He spits it at him.
And then the kid, he says, what are these Nutter Butters, which I think must be ice cream.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I've heard about them before. I didn't ever realise they were ice creams. And he said, what about these Nutter Butters? And he says, they're mine, Dad. And he's like a teenage boy. He's a growing boy. He's a skinny teenage growing boy. What about these, Dad? And he goes, no, nobody has teenagers in the house and doesn't expect them to eat slightly different, more childlike / carby foods than them. It cannot be the first time this has happened. Has he no control? He shouldn't be running for comptroller because he cannot control himself.
He can't control his. It's not even the ice creams. It's like the ice creams come up fresh, hot off the heels of him, like caterwauling about the fact that there's pasta in the cupboard, a staple food. Come on.
But also, don't cook it for yourself. Don't eat it, mate. You're rich. Get a personal chef. You're so rich. You're so fucking rich. Get chef boxes. Understand your kids are going to eat different things. What are you talking about? It's like he's never, ever in his life before thought, oh, I'll eat a bit more of this and a bit less of that, as we all have to as we grow up and as we grow into middle age. Everyone has to.
And also, like, how long is this election campaign? I feel like he's been running for comptroller for about 2 years. How long is the term in office? I really don't. And like, what American listeners write in, like, what, how ceremonial is this role? Like, how serious is it? Because it's like they act as though he's like running for like the mayor of New York some episodes, and then some episodes it's just like literally never mentioned. It's like they've gone glamping for like the whole week, and he's cleared his schedule, I guess.
And he's been eating s'mores.
Eating s'mores.
But he's lost 20 pounds. I'm like, what? This is just, I've never heard of this before. And suddenly, it's not like he's been like, no, I can't have that. Like, you have to plant that stuff. You have to have no s'mores for me. I want to be my trimmer self because I'm up for comptroller. Which is also a bit of a weird storyline. Like, New York comptrollers have to be... I've never thought he was...
I mean, it just doesn't sound like a word, comptroller. No. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the last comptroller...
And all I can think of is, like, as a big Thomas the Tank Engine fan, all I can think of is he can't be the fat comptroller. Is that what they're lining us up for? Herbert gets elected as the fat comptroller.
So, listen, we're not at the Easter egg section of the podcast yet, and I've got to get onto it in a second. However, I will give you a throwback.
Okay.
When was the last time in Sex and the City proper that we saw a comptroller, and what did he want to do, or what did he want Carrie to do to him?
Oh my God!
There was someone running.
No idea.
I think he was running for comptroller. He might have already been. I think he might have been already.
This has come up before in the universe of Sex and the City.
And he wanted Carrie to do something.
Why do they want us to care about the role of comptrollers so much? You wouldn't. I don't think they can get one storyline out of it, let alone two.
Well, they're really giving it their best shot.
Is this the politician that he wanted her to piss on him?
Yes.
Yes.
Ding, 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 jackpot.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
As Samantha says in that very episode. Okay, so...
Can I just say, by the way, that it's really jarring to, like, I know there's been a lot of discussion, as you said, the commentary around and just like that has been very kind of divisive and polemic. And I think we can all agree that like the way to sort of reboot your show 20 years after sort of like realizing that it wasn't cool, really, that it was like only populated by white people and set in the city of New York, the way to deal with that is not to just kind of like assign every one of the white members of main cast with like a friend of color, like, which is what the way they sort of dealt with it. But like now the problem with like having added so many characters in but not removed any, I mean, I know we've sort of removed Samantha, is that like the episodes, as you say, I mean, did you say this episode was 27 minutes?
It's got shorter and shorter. So they were all
crazy.
42, 43. Then last week was suddenly 30 and now it's 27. And that's right, about a network sitcom now.
The finale will be an advert, I guess. But it's so interesting that it's like, it really feels as though they just haven't got enough time to give any time to anyone, you know what I mean? Which is why I guess it's like Seema's got a deodorant storyline, and like, you know, LTW, the entirety of her existence this episode, the entirety of like what she gets to do is she gets 2 conversations with Herbert. She gets, as you say, like essentially 2 lines, both of which are advertising Ozempic. And that is it. That is all we see of Lisa this episode. It's so crazy.
Imagine being that actress, who, by the way, I think she's a very good actress, and she must be, if not the most beautiful woman in the world, top 3. She's got to be. She's so
very stunning.
Fucking beautiful. Imagine signing a fucking probably 7-year contract to this, and then one week being told your only storyline is an Ozempic infomercial.
Yeah.
And then going, okay, I guess Carrie's got a really big chunk of the 47 minutes this week, or the 42 or 43 minutes that we're allowed to do. No, we've just done with 27. So what, I could have had a storyline. We couldn't be bothered to write it, we'll be honest.
Yeah, couldn't be bothered to write it. You had like at least 10 minutes to play with there to have anything going on with any of the other characters, but I guess just couldn't be bothered. It's really wild. Like, I guess this is what I meant before when I was like, this is why I can't enjoy things. Like, Molly calls me, my wife Molly, we have a running joke in our house where when we watch television together, I'm sort of depending on what time it is. If we finished watching a couple of episodes or something, and it's sort of like 11 o'clock at night, I sort of turn the TV off, go to turn to her, open my mouth to begin a diatribe, and she sort of holds up her hand and says, "It's too late for The Crow." That's what it's called. I turn into something called The Crow when I watch television that I find so hateful, and I can't stop myself from like analysing it for longer than we've been watching it. In this case, that's not very difficult because we were watching this episode for 27 minutes. But it is so striking to see the like level of it's hard not to see it as anything other than like a real lack of effort, particularly when it's a runtime of 27 minutes. It's like the money that has gone into making this, the money that every single person at every single part of the chain has been paid, could have gone into making so much like new comedy, wonderful writers that can't get things away. You know what I mean? There is so much talent in Britain and America and every country, of course, but like it's so wild to just see them like
writing talent,
squeezing like I wouldn't mind if it seemed like they were having a really good time with it. I wouldn't mind if I was like, oh, it's gone really shit, but at least SJP's having a great time, at least the actor's having a great time, the writers are getting to do something fun. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like every single person on set is dragging themselves through every single scene, including Carrie, I must say.
And the logline of this podcast surely must be, and we're still watching, so we're part of the problem. That's how I'm going to sign off.
The woman realised she was feeding the machine.
So I think Anthony, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to care. How did you feel about finally breaking up with Aidan? Were you relieved? Were you shouting at the television, thank God?
So, like first time around in the OG series, I was a bit of an Aidan apologist, but that's because I hated Big so much.
Yeah,
I always did.
No one wanted Big for her.
No one wanted Big for her, and it was really back in the original series when she, as referenced in this episode, when she cheats on Aidan with Big. it happens in a really horrible way, and it's at a time that Aidan's like building them this gorgeous apartment, and he's this like obvious stable choice. But then, you know, as Alison Spittle, my comrade before me, has pointed out, I guess what happened in the intervening 20 years is that he spun off and became like a MAGA incel anti-vaxxer wanker.
People change. And
People
if you
change.
go and live in Virginia and have children called Wyatt, you will change.
And Homer, one of his children is called Homer. He has a child called Homer. And they're using that. I'm sorry if there's any listeners called Homer. I don't want to get cancelled by the Homer community. I don't know if that's bigger or smaller than the Surrey Vertigo community. If there's any Surrey-based Vertigo sufferers called Homer, I couldn't apologise more. I've killed my career with your demographic. I accept that. But it's the scenes in which he's like banting about. He's like, hey, we got to get back to see Homer's outside painting the house. I'm just like, I can't take this seriously. I think it's good. He's gone. I think it's an interesting choice, I got to say, as a lifelong watcher of the trials and tribulations of Carrie Bradshaw. It obviously is at this point is a decision that they have kind of pretty much sort of university decided to make across all the series of the show, that like they never really just have her in a relationship. We never really just see her in a relationship that's just going well. And I think it kind of would have been, I would have preferred this season to just, I know obviously because the show has the subtlety of a brick to the head, I know that they've been developing the downstairs Thatcherite neighbour kill me now as the new love interest.
I don't think he's a Thatcherite, to be fair. He said his grandfather hated the woman. He's just writing a biography of her. He hasn't.
Why would you choose to do that?
You might be going, what would drive that? People write biographies of Stalin. That doesn't mean they're Stalinites. I don't think he's not a Thatcherite.
Oh my God. I can't deal with it, Deb. I can't believe that in this day and age they've given us a character that is devoting his time to that. And therefore Carrie Bradshaw is devoting screen time to giving us notes on the memoir of Thatcher. This is not what I watched this show for. But anyway, I know they've been developing the sexual chemistry with him. Fine. Like, whatever. I think it's a little frustrating. Maybe it doesn't feel as frustrating if you've not watched them all in a weekend. Maybe you can attest to feeling differently. But like, it's frustrating to have invested. I feel kind of like her. Like, I feel like, well, I've invested a whole season in sort of like trying to get on board with this weird long distance. She's going to Virginia. He's coming up here. He's breaking her windows, and like, you know, this thing with the kids. Like, it just sort of feels like, God. It just would have been it. I wish we hadn't gone through all this.
Yeah, like, it's just trauma with no payoff.
We should just done this in the first couple of episodes when it was obviously not going to work out.
To me, I feel like what they've been edging for me is she will break up with him, and then finally, in the finale, she can shag Duncan, and as he comes, he can shout, "There's no such thing as society!" That's
well, Deb. As the lady herself would say, at this point, there is no alternative, surely.
The woman is not for turning.
The woman is not for turning.
And
the woman is not, unlike poor old Charlotte Goldenblack, the woman is not for turning around and around on the floor, unable to get up.
Oh, my God.
And not gifted with any storylines of any significance whatsoever.
I, for one, and I found their relationship cute back in the day until he was always a bit controlling and stopped smoking and stopped doing this and stopped doing that. However, I found their relationship cute. Relationships aren't perfect. I don't watch TV to see perfect things. I watch things to see flawed people. And interestingly, on that, I listened to the Writers' Room podcast. So basically, Michael Patrick King and a gang of his writers all sit around and do the podcast and talk about each episode. And I listened to it a couple of times, but it was very smug. And they were so pleased with themselves, I couldn't. I didn't continue. Really pleased with themselves, and they laugh at their own jokes, and they're very kind of divorced.
Well, somebody's got to laugh at those jokes, Debs. To be fair,
I don't need to waste them. So I stopped, but then Welsh Emma LDN, who's someone I follow on Instagram, I don't think that's her real name. I think it's Welsh Emma London. Welsh Emma LDN was on her Instagram. She does kind of quite hilarious commentary on all of this. Said that she played a bit of the podcast from last week and said they disagree. And she's just like, my mind is blown, because they're all arguing. This is after the show is out, what everything means and what happened. And they argue about it. I'm like, no, that's what you argue about in the writer's room. No, he shouldn't do that. No, because he still loves her. I don't think he'd do that. That's what you write about in the writer's room. And then someone comes up with an idea and you go, that's it. Yeah, okay, we could all get bored behind that. But they're still arguing about it afterwards. So I had to listen this week. And it was fascinating because Michael Patrick King was arguing that Carrie had been perfect in this iteration of her relationship with Aidan. And one of the others was going, well, I really don't think so because of blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, she has. That's Jenny's opinion, but it's not right, blah, 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 blah. And he was saying, no, she's been flawless. She's done everything right. She's perfect. And I was like, why are you writing? Because I was thinking, why is she being such a doormat? He comes, he goes, I don't want to see you for 5 years. Oh, I'm wanking in a pickup truck, licking my hand. Suddenly, at a moment's notice, you're meant to be celibate for 5 years, but I feel like a wank because I'm drunk. You've got to pick up and give it to me. It's disgusting what he's done. Come and gone, crashing in out. And he's saying what he wanted was for Carrie to behave perfectly, kind of to make up for these past sins, I guess. And I'm like, behaving perfectly isn't having no boundaries, isn't having no self-respect, isn't being a doormat. But he wanted her to be beyond reproach this time. And I'm like, I don't watch TV to see people who are beyond reproach. I watch TV for catharsis, to see people make, yes, you want her to make different mistakes in her 50s than she made in her 30s, fair play. More sophisticated ones that are forged in the trauma of the 30s and the 40s, sure. But to be flawless, that is, Michael Patrick King has lost his head for story. I've never heard any storyteller in any genre say, I want this character to be perfect. Certainly not your hero. Your hero cannot be perfect. Don't you think?
Well, of course. But I also find it like, what was really bizarre, not just in this episode, but in the last couple of episodes in which he's kind of been back in town and stuff, it's really, really bizarre, given, as we've already said, A, the things that they do devote screen time to, and B, in some of these episodes, the real, like, questionable lack of screen time whatsoever, like the fact that things are running so short. The fact that there are, like, huge scenes of conversations that they've just decided not to have, that I just find implausible. I find it absolutely implausible that a couple of episodes ago, when he was like, I slept with my wife, and Carrie essentially was like, oh, okay, well, I get that. And he was like, what are you talking about? We're supposed to not sleep with anyone else for 5 years. And she was like, are we? I was like, is this the first time you've spoken about this?
Yeah,
like,
I'll wait for you. But, like, what does that mean? Does that mean if you come back in 5 years and this is what we both want? Or does this mean I'll sit on my hands for, also, I don't believe women do that in their late 50s.
But also it's also incongruent and inconsistent, because in, I think, even the same episode, or maybe the next episode, Carrie gets really angry at Miranda for implying that she fancies the downstairs Thatcher guy. So it's like, you literally told Aidan like 5 minutes ago, like, well, it's obviously completely unrealistic that we wouldn't sleep with anybody else for 5 years. So, like, which is it? You know what I mean?
But then he says, do you want to sleep with other people? And she says no. But also, what she should have argued with Miranda about, I think, is she should have said to Miranda, no, we've decided to be celibate, and until, like, we've decided only to sleep with each other when we can. Other than that, we're not going to do it. And then,
but so what's the nature of this relationship? Are they talking every day? We went from going, the last thing we heard, and it's okay if you want to imply or even say that they decided this stuff off screen and it just didn't make the edit. Like, you need to sort of fill the audience in some way. But we went from 5 years no contact to blank postcards to telephone wank to suddenly, really quite suddenly, Carrie staying in the house with the really disturbed kid who, like, obviously hates her, and is the whole reason that they can't be together for 5 years. So it's like, dude, like, why did we? There's just so many steps that we've missed here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not on Wyatt's side, but it's like 100%. The whole point of 5 years was to avoid situations where disturbed Wyatt is, like, throwing a rake through the window. So, like, figure it out. You know what I mean? You can't just decide that, you can't just change these things on the fly.
But this is what I'm saying. She has no boundaries in this. And what she should have told Miranda to get the fight was, Aidan slept with his wife.
Yes.
But I understand it. I understand it, and I'm going to wait for him. I'm going to only be... And that's what old Miranda would have gone, what? So it's good for him and it's not good for you? And she was the friend who always went, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. But instead, she just bit Miranda's head off over saying, I saw you having a nice little flirt with him. I would say to you, were you having a little flirt with that? And you wouldn't go to me, I'm a married woman. Fuck you. Like, you'd go, you'd either go, I wasn't. I genuinely wasn't. Or you'd go, well, I mean, she's a very attractive woman. She's having a flirt with me. I mean, we're still human, aren't we?
Her reaction in that scene is absolutely insane, but it's no more insane than everything else that happens at that party. And can I just say,
it's not as insane as Charlotte falling on a condom. So.
It's not insane as Charlotte falling on a condom. Can I also just say, I know this is not the episode that we're talking about, but in the previous episode where they throw a party for Charlotte's birthday, because everything about this show is so insane. Like, because Harry has said to Charlotte, please don't tell your friends that I've got prostate cancer. Miranda starts to suspect there's something wrong, so Carrie, on the fly, makes up that their dog has terminal cancer. Like, that's a lie that would just trip off the top of your tongue. And then Miranda's, like, sexless, chemistry-devoid, English cold witch of a girlfriend turns up with, like, CBD dog treats to help the dog. And did you feel like that was a comedy plotline that hit the cutting room floor? Because, like, it's like Chekhov's CBD treats, and then nothing happened with them.
Yeah, and the dog.
But there's so many things that happen like this that it's like, okay, you need a better editor. You know what I mean? You need LTW's hot editor, Marion, who I guess she's gonna.
Oh yeah.
How's that? What do you think's gonna go down?
The writers' room has already declared that there'll be no funny business between Lisa and Marion. It's just there as a temptation,
right?
And they don't want to ruin her marriage. But they've already told us nothing's going to happen. So there's no. If you listen to their podcast, they've given you the spoiler. Nothing will happen. Of course, nothing will happen. That would imply a story. So I'm going to give you some Easter eggs now.
Please do.
Andy Cohen, the chat show host, was in this episode of And Just Like That. She goes for a walk and ends up shoe shopping in one of those big department stores. And Andy Cohen walks by and says, hey, Carrie, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm slammed. And she goes, don't worry, Daniel, I'm only looking today.
That is interesting because I thought, why the hell is this scene here? And it's obviously because he is somebody.
To call back Andy Cohen. So Andy Cohen is now a chat show host.
Right.
I think he's a friend of hers. I've seen him on the show. Why is Andy Cohen in this episode? He played a similar character, or where I guess we're meant to imagine the same character in another episode. Do you remember it?
I do not.
I didn't, and nobody could possibly have, unless they told us. They told us because there's no way we would have known. Do you remember the episode where Charlotte pretends she's blind because she wants to work with the blind, and they say you have to go into a department store and pretend to be blind? In some ways, was this show better? And Carrie says, I'll stay right by your side. Now, why would you take Carrie Bradshaw? She's the worst friend on earth. Carrie immediately goes off to take a call from a man. She can't get cell phone reception, so she says, I'll be right back. Charlotte gets caught up in the sweep of people and is wandering around on her own. When she takes her blindfold off, Carrie is trying on shoes. Andy Cohen, who looks nothing like Andy Cohen now, is assisting her. And she goes, don't you think these shoes are cute, though? And Charlotte says, yes. And Andy Cohen nods. He doesn't even have a line. So he's obviously just an out-of-work actor he's basically a supporting artist.
I see.
They call him up and go, you're famous now. Would you like to play that character again? And he goes, what character? I didn't have a character. I don't even remember doing Sex and the City. They go, yeah. You held a shoebox. And he goes, sure. How much are you going to pay me? Because I'm famous now. And that's his reprisal as a cameo.
Well, he had almost more lines than Lisa in this episode, so he's doing well.
At least he didn't have to peddle Ozempic.
Yeah.
Carrie and Aidan argued about smoke this time. That's what broke the relationship up. And the first time around. When did it first come up? When did smoking first come up between them?
Oh, I don't know, but it's early on, isn't it? Because he hates it straight away.
So it is their first
date?
Yes, their first date. She gets cigarettes out and he says, that'll be a deal breaker for me. I can't date a smoker. And so she decides to give up cigarettes for him. And she says, no, it's really for myself. It was time. But of course it wasn't. It was for him.
So that's interesting. So that's the callback. They're obviously closing that loop, saying that this time she's choosing what she wants. She's choosing to smell of smoke. I kind of wish it was anything other than that.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
But this time it's Thatchery smoke.
Yeah. This time it's pipe smoke. What are we doing?
It's hard to know. It's a very relevant, up-to-date 2025 storyline.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Big. They argued about who was going for a walk in this episode during an argument. When was the first iconic time they argued about who was going for a walk during an argument?
Oh, I don't know this. Is it the episode where she cheats?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know.
They've moved in together and they're arguing about your stuff is everywhere. Well, look, your stuff is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I'm going for a walk. And he goes, no, I'm going for a walk. And she goes, no, I'm going for a walk. And she storms off. And they repeat that exactly, clearly again. When they broke up in the street, when was the last time they broke up in the street? There's a little triptych for you here, beginning, middle, and end, that they've stuck into this episode like they care. When did they break up in the street?
When did they break up in the street?
I'm going to give you a hint. There was a fountain there.
Oh, I don't know. When was this?
It was a black and white ball they went to. So she was in a long white dress and he was in a tux.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's agreed previously, she's got freaked out about the wedding. So they've agreed to like leave it for a bit until she can get her head around it. And they're walking back outside from the black and white ball. And he goes, come on, let's go down a plane to Vegas and get married right now. You're in that beautiful dress. I'm in a tux. Let's just go and do it. And she goes, no, come on, we agreed. And then they have a fight and he says, if you don't want to marry me now, you'll never want to marry me. And she goes, that's not true. And he says, I think it is. And they break up outdoors. So what they've done there, I think, to give them some credit, is first date smoke, first scene, smoke's a problem, smoke smells.
Yeah.
Mid-scene, I'm going for a walk. I'm going for a walk. That's the middle of their relationship when they're living together. And then their last breakup outside didn't pay for the iced teas. Now, the most unrealistic thing of all is that waiter wouldn't have run after them and said, you owe me for the iced teas, because otherwise he would be charged.
I don't know. They're both white. I think,
That waiter will be charged. New York, they're very tough on that. And give me a tip. And then I missed 2 Easter eggs from last week, so I'm going to give them to you because you've just watched them.
Okay.
Miranda keeps going back for the gin and then eventually throws it down the trash chute. When in Sex and the City have we seen Miranda doing this behavior before, going back, trying not to have something, going back, trying not to have something, and then throwing it in the bin?
Is it something with the food?
Yes.
Is it something? It's not the giant cookie, is it?
No.
She
just eats all of that. It's the cake. It's when she gets into cake because I think she's not having any sex.
Yes.
And she ends up eating some out of the bin, and she rings Carrie and leaves a voice message saying, your good friend Miranda has just eaten cake out of the bin and you'll need this information when you check her into the Betty Crocker clinic, which was a classic Sex and the City pun. But there was like a really clever pun. We don't get those anymore. It's a sad day. Also, another Easter egg. Last week in my roundup, I referred to Marion going down on a papaya because that's what that was. Like,
it was very oral.
A papaya for lunch. That's absurd. When have we seen a man going down on fruit in Sex and the City before? And I'll give you the hint. It was a paramour of Charlotte's.
Oh, is this something to do with husband Trey?
Nope. It was a fling. It was a little encounter, and she tried to turn him into more. He was known as Mr. He had a name. He was very good at going down, and his name was Mr. Think of the most obvious thing, Mr.
Cunt, Mr.
Close,
Cunnilingus,
yes. Mr. What do Americans say for
Pussy?
most often?
Mr.
Yes,
Pussy.
Mr. Pussy.
Mr.
And
Pussy.
He was going down on a fig. He starts like going down on a fig. She says, maybe we should get dinner and maybe we should see each other. And she's thinking like, he's really good in bed. Like maybe I can make sense of him more. And he just starts going down on a fig. And she's
they called him Mr. Pussy. Maybe we do think of the old show as, through rose-tinted glasses.
If we've come back from all, we deserve Adam Gardens.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so with that, we're now onto the final section, which is the writer's room, the rewriter's room, I call it, where I believe, as I say every week to the listeners, that the old column and the voiceover of that, thematically bringing everything together, did a lot of heavy lifting. Because sometimes there'd be a very, very light on storyline, but because Carrie would tell us, but not in the Netflix show and tell way, she would link it as in her column.
Yes.
So in the rewriters' room, I believe that if we had that column back, we would at least be being led to believe there was a purpose from watching this. So I try and do...
Your faith is magnificent.
The monologue and demonstrate what some of her segues would have been as she linked the scenes together. This week, I found it so hard to find a theme and then to care enough to write this. However, I forced myself, but the only way I could do it, sometimes I've thought I've done, ones that had they been there would have been great. But this week, all I could do was basically parody. I just couldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah, so, it was a shambles, this one particularly.
Oh, really bad. So I was stretching for a theme so hard and I just couldn't find anything. So in the end, I went with this. With my boyfriend and work husband arguing in the garden, one with a gripe and one with a pipe, I couldn't help wondering, are we all just sucking on a nipple? Was Seema clinging to the mother's milk of her own deodorant? Or was tempting Adam Gardens into her Garden of Eden to suck on her nipples enough of a reason for her to put down the toxic chemicals and go au natural? And from nippled to crippled. With Charlotte and Harry finding it hard to stay upright, she wonders, what was the point of breastfeeding Rock and bottle-feeding Lily if they couldn't be bothered to bring her some succour in her hour of need?
I agree with that. Those kids are trash.
Oh, those kids are awful. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Herbert's behaving like a hungry baby who needs a pacifier. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Miranda admits that she was in danger of putting a teat on Joy's gin bottle if she didn't throw it away. And Anthony realises that 76-year-old Gia has never really weaned her 27-year-old son off the breast, and she's not about to start now. And as for me, if I wanted to rid myself of this horror film of a relationship, in which I was playing fourth fiddle to Aidan's appalling children, unless he decided to crash into my life with the subtlety of one of his quad bikes, I was going to have to spit the dummy in the street and go cold turkey from this nipple of a man who never deserved me and never would. As I walked down the street in my Manolos, I realised that New York, shoes, shopping, and my girls was all that I needed to suck on to get my fill of life. Well, maybe that and the handsome man fingering my manuscript downstairs. That's if I could get him to use me as his pipe. Dun, 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 dun.
Addendum. You can get Ozempic from all good pharmacies. Absolutely unbelievable. But I applaud your I applaud your the poetry of your writing. You're really channeling OG Carrie Bradshaw there. I
mean, that obviously is nothing that she would have said. The others, every week I've done something I think, yeah, she might have said that. This week I was like, I'm just going to have to go with the nipple because there's literally nothing else, and at least it's absurd.
Well, they should hire you because it sounds like they don't know what they're fucking doing. Like they don't even know. When you were talking about the writers' podcast
for weeks, Grace.
When you were talking about their writers' podcast, saying that they're still arguing about what happened, it really reminded me of a television show much beloved by my community, The L Word, which also suffered a pretty poor diversity injected reboot a couple of years ago, The L Word, Generation Q. So did you ever watch The L Word?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh my god! Wow, you've got it all to come, and it's as good as this television show we're describing here.
Excellent. Look forward to it.
But it ends with a very controversial whodunit. And this is a spoiler, but the show's been out for 20 years, so I think, spoiler alert if anybody is watching the original L Word. But it ends with a whodunit that is never solved. A whodunit happens in the last episode of the last season of the L Word. And famously, the creator Eileen Chaikin has said, because it's a total departure from the genre. Like it's all the way through. It's basically like bizarrely, actually, the word bizarrely to anyone who's seen it, it's a bizarre thing because it kind of went completely in a different direction. But when it was pitched as the lesbian Sex and the City.
Right.
So the original tagline was, because the L Word is set in LA. Filmed very obviously in Canada, but set in LA. And the original tagline was same sex, different city.
Right.
And it was supposed to be the queer L Word. it went nothing like that in the end. But that's what it is. It's a relationship drama with some humorous elements.
I don't know how
and then bizarrely,
I wasn't watching TV when it came out. I think my life was such that I think I didn't have a TV because I remember it. But
I don't think it's the kind of thing that anybody would tell you that you can't get through your life without watching. But they really went off the deep end in this final series. They knew they'd been cancelled, and they introduced this whodunit storyline where one of the opening episode of the final series is one of the characters being pulled out of a pool, and then basically in a kind of fairly classic whodunit style, over the course of the final series, they kind of give all the other characters a motivation, and then they never solve it. They never reveal who did it. And then the creator, Eileen Chaikin, said many times in interviews afterwards that like she didn't know who'd done it. And it was watching it makes you feel so insane. And I think it makes sense to me that the writers are still arguing over Carrie and Aidan's motivations here, because that's how you feel watching it. It's like, it's okay not to tell the audience everything that you know is going on with these characters, but guys, you've got to know. You've got to know. You don't have to tell us who done it, but you have to know who done it.
At least have a list of suspects for a murder you've created.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sounds very Desperate Housewives, but desperate housewives.
Desperate
times for desperate housewives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember lesbians complaining about the show a lot at the time. They were very angry that they only had this small bit of representation, and then it was this. They were sort of like, this is contemptible. I always remember there's a great SNL sketch about, it's a trailer for it's a very recent one, a trailer for a lesbian period film. And
you're going to have to narrow that down. That's all they give us is period films.
Well, no, that was kind of the joke. I think it was based on a couple that had recently come out.
Not a real one. Oh, I see. Yeah.
No, it was a sort of mock SNL Saturday Night Live period film, and it was sort of all, looks to camera stuff. It was very, very funny. And then you know how they have the movie quotes, so it'll say, a startling work of genius, the New York Times, and it'll come up on the screen in a trailer. They had the voiceover come up and say, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Lesbians today. I mean, I'm going to watch it. It's all we've got. Like, it's just like, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah. What else am I going to do? I've got nothing else to watch.
I got to say, if I have to find a silver lining in And Just Like That, and Lord knows the gruel is thin in trying to do so, but like, I have to feel better about the state of lesbian representation if I am like, I couldn't give a fuck about Miranda in this British chippy. I really couldn't. I'm not, honestly, like, I'm not rooting for them at all.
On behalf of
I'm
the
not
British
rooting for her
community, I am outraged.
I'm not rooting for her with poor old bloody Virgin Mary nun Rosie O'Donnell. What a waste of an actor like that. I'm not rooting for her with any of them. I'm really not.
I've got a confession now that I have to say. I mean, I'm sort of bowing to your lesbian superiority here. So I didn't say it at the time, but I quite like Miranda and Dolly. And she's called Joy, but the actress called Dolly. I like Dolly Wells, and I'm enjoying that Miranda's having a relationship that seems like fun, low key, not insane, not. Like, Che was so insane, and it was awful.
Don't speak that name to me.
Just terrible. And I quite like, they just seem to have fun, and they seem to get on. And I think Dolly, I do think they've got chemistry. I know I'm a very junior lesbian compared to you. I'm a diet bisexual. I understand that. So this is why I didn't want to disagree with you. I thought, I can't disagree with Grace about lesbian chemistry.
Of course you can.
I'll get kicked out of the queer club, and I'm barely a member. I'm teetering on having my membership revoked for not using it. I think if you don't use it in a year, they take it away. So
we'll put you back down to a provisional. Provisional card carrier. Yeah.
I have to top it up or something because it's concerning me. But I feel like, can I disagree with Grace Petrie? Like, I feel like I need to text Sandy Toksvig and see if she agrees, because if she does, then clearly they've got no chemistry. Just the most senior lesbians I can think of. Linda, who started Diva magazine.
Linda Riley.
Yeah,
indeed.
Linda Riley. If I text, I don't have Linda's number, but if I text a few of those people, put the feelers out, find out. Lesbians who are listening to this, if there are any, because some of you may have gone, we're out. I'm
no offense to Dolly Wells. I guess I find the characters so, and again, this is not something that is specific to the lesbian relationship. It is, as we've discussed, sadly, endemic to the entire cast of this, what we're generously calling TV show at this point. But like, she's so underwritten. It's crazy. Like, I feel like like I said, I've just binged the whole series in a weekend. I feel like she's had about 5 lines, and 4 of them were reminding us again, yes, she has 2 Italian greyhounds called Socrates and fucking something else pretentious, hell's bells. Like, give me something to go on. The only time they have a scene where anything sort of pertaining to like a relationship happens is the scene with the awful British friends who come over to Carrie's house that Miranda's house sitting in with no furniture. It makes no sense. And then, like, what's her name again? Joy sits in the corner, doesn't speak, right? Anytime Miranda looks at her, she looks down.
Yeah.
And then at the end, on the doorstep, Miranda says, obviously you're not interested in me because I was involved in this embarrassing meme. And Joy says the most implausible line I've ever heard in anything, which is, did it ever occur to you that when I realise I'm attracted to someone, and I quote, completely shut down? What?
Then that's not attraction.
What?
Attraction is sort of that someone likes you.
I completely shut down. I understand shyness, but it's like it's like they just it's not like they've never written lesbians before. It's like they've never met human beings before of any variety. It is so insane. It's like what a thing to write. How should we get Miranda and Joy together? What if we engineer this insane party situation, which is so implausible to begin with? Miranda's invited this work colleague to invite her friends that she doesn't know, these horrible British people who are going to come over to the house she's house sitting in without any furniture in. Why would you choose that as a
Wouldn't you
Why
say
would you choose
come
that
to a bar in my local
as a location
area?
for a date?
Yeah.
And when Carrie suggests it on the phone, Miranda's like, "You're a genius." It's like, fucking hell.
If she was a genius, she would have bought some chairs.
No wonder these bitches can't get any relationships off the ground. If you think that's a genius plan, how
rich as fuck? Why hasn't she got any chairs?
How intimidated would you be? How freaked out would you be if it was like, oh, that girl I fancy from work has invited me over to the house? You get there and it's like, oh, this isn't her house and there is no furniture in it. I'd just be like, oh, okay, I'm getting murdered. That's what's going on. I'm getting murdered in this empty house that doesn't belong to this woman. She's rented an Airbnb and lured me over here to murder me. And instead they write this storyline where she literally sits in the corner looking as glum as possible. And then at the end of the episode, that is what she says. When I realise I'm attracted to someone, I completely shut down. How hot, how horny, how very fucking abstinence in the city. Jesus Christ.
Guilty feminist listeners, you've just experienced The Crow.
The Crow! The Crow is out!
Come to town. I've just looked something up while you were crowing.
Indeed.
Because I feel less intimidated now about questioning your ability to detect lesbian chemistry because you said... She's got 2 dogs, Joy. One of them's called Socrates and the other one's called something equally pretentious.
Sappho, sorry.
Thank
indeed.
you.
Sappho,
Any lesbian worth her salt would have known the one called Sappho and not known the one called Socrates.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, I can't, between Carrie's cat and Richard Burton and the many other animals that are fucking shoehorned into this show for precious little comedic relief.
All puns intended for those who love Carrie's cat shoehorned in, So
I feel like we could have had a whole other character for the amount of scenes in this season alone of like funding animals looking at people having sex when they shouldn't be. It's like, what is this? What is this?
There's a lot of family movie you see in a hotel, dogs going,
Yes. Yeah. It's slapstick. It's slapstick. I can't bear it.
Well, I think we've thoroughly rinsed and just like that, and I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed myself.
I would say apologies to any listeners who do really enjoy it, but it seems impossible to believe that those people exist at this point. Come on.
I think people are pretty much watching it for the lols and for the rewatch podcasts and content. I saw a clip, I haven't listened to it yet, but I've seen an Instagram clip of SJP on Las Culturistas, that big, very funny Bone Yang podcast, and they were talking like this to SJP. They were going, girlfriend,
and what's her take?
you should have stayed in Paris. She should have stayed in Paris when she had the chance all those years ago. I'm sorry. She's with these toxic narcissists, and they were just ripping the piss. And she was laughing. I think she knows. Okay. I think she just
she's not going to bat for this shit. Yeah.
She's cashing the checks. Oh, but one thing I did learn from the writer's room before I go is that when Michael Patrick King called John Corbett to say your character's breaking up with Carrie Bradshaw, John Corbett said, I'm sad. I thought they were going to make it this time.
And that's why that made it into the script.
He said, that's so lovely. I thought that has to go in the script. Or I'm so lazy, I'll just take what the actors say about it in an editorialized commentary about somebody else, and I'll put that in. Good enough. Good enough. Done. 27 minutes. Done.
27 minutes.
Excuse me, Mr. King, but you are contracted for 43. Sorry, are you breaking up? I'm in Barbados. Bye. All right.
Also, John Corbett, have you been watching the show? I didn't think they were going to make it this time. Fucking hell.
If that's making it, then we're all dead.
Yeah.
Grace Petrie, what have you got
Deborah
to plug?
Frances-White. Oh, well, I suppose I should mention, although I don't want to, that I'm at the Edinburgh Fringe for 10 days between the 4th and the 14th of August. I am, as we sit here on the 27th of July, I am closer to having finished the show than I have ever been, but still not as close as we would like to be.
That's as correct as it should be. You shouldn't be less close than you were last week. You should be at least.
Listen, it's not been linear. Closer. It has not been linear. There have been times.
Cut stuff.
There have been times that I've taken a huge step back, but I think we're on the right path. I'm on my way just now to do a preview tonight, and yes, I'd love it if you would come to it, because a combination of ADHD, meaning that August has really crept up on me, and genuinely feeling very sort of unsure about how to promote the show as I've been in the process of writing it. It's been really difficult to write this one. I think it is actually going to be quite good. I should say this. For all of my self-deprecation, I think actually now I'm at the point where I do think it is going to be very good. But all of those factors combined mean that I just haven't really promoted it very much. So if you're in Edinburgh at all, or if you know anyone who's going to Edinburgh, please do send them my way. I'm at the Gilded Balloon 4th to the 14th at 4:15.
Can I just say, I've heard some of it, and I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was so beautiful. And the 2 songs I heard, I was blown away by. You never fail. And I actually texted you, and I'm going to read you afterwards. And I read you the text because you don't read my text. So I'm going to read it out to you.
I read it, yes.
Well, I'm going to read it out because the audience haven't read it. I can't text them all. I haven't got time. Wonderful to see you. Amazing new songs. And then I sent you a funny thing about Coldplay, because we've been talking about that and the CEO. And then the next day I wrote, decided to listen to your latest album again after hearing your new songs. You really are a brilliant songwriter. Don't work in a shop, which was something you'd threatened to do backstage.
I had threatened to work in a shop.
She'd threatened to. She's going to die with a guitar in her hand. I think
not to get cancelled by the shop working community, by the way.
No.
Certainly not the vertigo-suffering shop dwellers of Surrey who are called Homer. Oh, my God.
I have worked in a shop many times and fucking loved it. It's just not what you're doing at the moment. There's plenty of people working in shops who say, I'm going to kick this in and go on the road. And they would be incorrect to do that. As 2 people who go on the road a lot. And I'm just reading that out to you so you can see, I did text you there.
No, I appreciate it very much.
And I am so blown away by those new songs. And I think you're really speaking to a time, which is this time of feeling, and Grace is always self-deprecating and going, oh God, it's not going to come together. But that's because she's very ambitious about what she's trying to put together, and she's not phoning it in. She's not Michael Patrick King going, did you say something? I'll put that in my show, Deb. Don't work in a shop. Can I have that for the show? She's not doing that, okay? She's very ambitious.
Don't speak too soon. I've been recording this whole call. I'm going to take everything you've said verbatim. That's my whole preview tonight.
She's very ambitious and sophisticated in what she writes, and that's why the show will be a masterpiece. Go and see it at the Fringe.
And if you're not at the Fringe, I'm touring it in the UK from September onwards, and I would love to see you on the road.
And what's it called?
This is No Time to Panic.
Yeah, and it feels very resonant to a time where we're all going, the news is horrific, what are we going to do? And we feel a bit stymied and a bit deer in the headlights and depressed and disassociated and all of those things. And we oscillate between, I just have to do something, completely escapist, like watching Just Like That and rant about it, and then go back to thinking, fuck, what am I going to do about this? And trying to help in ways that we think we can, and all of that. And I think this show really speaks to it in a way that it's the show we need, it's the medicine we need right now, and it's going to taste good. So please go and see Grace Petrie's show, either in the Edinburgh Fringe or on tour. I loved your last Edinburgh show, and I love everything you do, which is why I always force you to tour with me, despite your best efforts, despite your desire to live in a shop. Despite your desire to live in a shop.
You can come and bust me out of the shop and bring me out on the road.
Yes.
I'll still be touring with you when I'm working in my shop.
Oh, right, okay. So the shop's going to give you long breaks.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I'll just have to be touring full time, I guess. All right. If that's all, anything else to plug? Anything else people should see in Edinburgh?
Well, just many of our Guilty Feminist comrades are up there. Jess Robinson's up there with a wonderful show called Your Song Elton John Reimagined, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Alison Spittle's up there.
Oh, all the people we've had on our recent Edinburgh shows.
Also, Josie Long has got a show that I really can't wait to see. Jess Fosterkey's doing a show.
Great.
Plenty
Molly
of
Naylor
amazing
doing
stuff
anything?
up there. Molly Naylor is going to be with me in Edinburgh. She directed my show. She doesn't have a show of her own up at the Fringe this year, which is why she's really looking forward to going to Edinburgh and I'm not.
Nice.
She keeps saying, God, it's so weird to be really looking forward to being in Edinburgh for 10 days and just going to see shows and things. But she is working on a new collection at the moment. Oh, and actually, if people are in the market for podcasts, if you're up to date with The Guilty Feminist, my wonderful wife Molly Naylor has a phenomenal podcast, new podcast called Making Trouble, in which she interviews all kinds of creative people about their barriers to creativity. The tagline is, it's a podcast about the trouble we're having with the things that we're making, and it's very, very good. I'd recommend that.
Wonderful. You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist Watchers and Just Like That with me, Deborah Frances-White, and my very special guest, Grace Petrie. The producer for The Spontaneity Shop was Tom Salinsky. The Guilty Feminist is part of the Acast Creator Network, and Just Like That is on Max in the United States and Sky Comedy and now in the UK. See you next week for episode 10. We're still watching, so we're part of the problem.
I'm sad. I really thought we'd make it this time.
I'm sad too.